Hi everyone, blessed be. I wanted to show you how to display an animal skull in a glass dome. So first of all, this is a roebuck skull that I bought from a seller at the witchcraft market, and it's a wild found one, so you know it died of natural causes and was just found in a forest. So first of all, I got a piece of wood that I've took the bark off and stuck that onto the base, and then I've glued the skull onto it to raise it up off the ground, because I want the skull to be like the central point on the display. Then it was a case of working out what I wanted around it. Now I knew I wanted like natural objects and things because obviously this is from a forest, and I wanted to add those foresty elements to the display. So here's some dried moss. This is just moss I found in my garden that I've left on a dish for a couple of months to dry out completely. I do have this pine sprig, but the needle started falling off that as I was putting it on, so I did change what I did with that. So I've put the moss down, that's going to be the base. And then I've got these roses that I want to add to the skull. So I'm just going to glue those in place with some hot glue. Hot glue is great because it will hold these in place for as long as I want. But then if I ever do change my mind, I can remove the hot glue without damaging the skull. Because when I bought this, this originally had fake flowers stuck to it, which I took off because I didn't like them. So you can get hot glue back off. And then I've got this pine sprig, and I'm just taking off the needles that were falling off. I wanted to use the stick to go around the back like this. I just wanted to incorporate as many natural elements as I could. So I decided to add a smaller little sprig of pine needles at the bottom instead. Okay, Dara, I'm not so using I've got the stick on one side and the sprig of pine needles on the other. And basically what I'm using is just a whole bunch of dried flowers and things. Some are from the garden, and others I already had knocking around the house in my stash of things to use in a display. But I do get most of my stuff from the garden, apart from the pine needles, which I found at a park. Then I've got some sprigs of lavender. These are from my garden. And the stick is from my garden as well. And I'm just having a look and thinking about where I want to put things. I definitely wanted like some flowers behind the skull. And I had a whole load of lavender that I'd harvested from the garden that's been drying for about 2 months probably, 2 months. So it's nice and dry. And I'm just going to get that from the other side of the room, and I wanted to create like a nice sort of spray of these flowers like fanning out at the back. So this is a whole bunch that has been hung up to dry. I hang the flowers and things upside down to dry off my bar thing that I made to hang herbs, and I find they dry really well. And these are the lavender's fine, but if you do rub the flower heads, the little bits will fall off. So you do have to be delicate with the lavender once it's dried. But usually I end up taking the little flower buds off and putting it in a jar, so it doesn't matter if they do fall off. But for this purpose I wanted them to stay attached. And the other little sprig of lavender, the little tiny one, I'm going to add to the sprig that's behind the skull, just to make it fill up that whole back piece between the two horns. If you find at first that the flowers keep popping off while the hot glue's wet, just hold it in place for a little bit, making sure you're not touching the glue, and you'll find that they'll stay in place. This did pop off a couple of times, so I just had to hold it until the glue set. And what I'm going to do now is just have a look through my stash of dried herbs and sticks and things and see what I want to use for this display. Here you can see I've got some dried grasses and the flowers, and I've got it all fanned out behind the skull. I've also got some feathers that I found, and obviously the moss and stuff at the bottom. And once I held everything in place and let the glue dry, as you can see, the flowers are now staying in position. This was the widest I could get the flowers to go, and they'd still fit in the dome. And I've got some little sticks that I'm adding at the front, and I've got some pieces of obsidian that I found in the ground in the garden, that I've added to the piece as well. It's either obsidian or pitch, but it's same properties magically. And I've got a pine cone. I wanted to add as many different things that I could out of my sort of dried herbs and natural objects. I do collect a lot of natural objects to use in my practice. So here's a piece of that obsidian or pitch, or what is it? There's obsidian and pitch and something else I think that looks similar. Either way, they're all volcanic glass, and they're all black and have the same magical properties. So it's just there's some slightly different elements in pitch than there is to obsidian. And with the rocks, if you're sticking rocks down, just put plenty of glue and just hold it until it's set, and then it'll stay in place. And then once I've stuck my rocks in place, I'm going to show you what this looks like. And you'll have to excuse the difference in the camera quality. This is because I'm using my iPad just for this bit. And this is what it looks like inside the dome and on display. The colours are a little bit richer in real life than they are on the camera. But yeah, that's what this looks like. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.